All right, welcome back. Excuse me. Now, on this video, you see the thumbnail, see the title. I don't know how many of you remember. This was early when I created my SBW channel. There was this Afrocentric chick on YouTube. She was very popular. She used to act like she was down with black men. She used to act Afrocentric. Until one day she was spotted at a adult entertainment presentation. She was identified on a porn scene with a bunch of white dudes shaking and gyrating their stuff in her face, and she was loving it. She was reaching and grabbing a handful of things. And mind you, she had a strong reputation on YouTube as being an Afrocentric, down, black power, black African development sister. Solid reputation until she was spotted on that porno. She immediately deleted her channel, which had a whole lot of subscribers. I don't remember how many, but she had a monumental channel. She had no defense for it. She immediately took it down. And I had created a video exposing it. And the video sort of went viral. And I think I took it down. It might still be on YouTube somewhere. What was her name? Black Indigo? Wasn't that her name? Black Indigo? I'm thinking Black Indigo, but I'm not sure. For whatever reason, Black Indigo stands out in my mind. Right? Black Indigo. Look that name up. We might have time here to look it up. But I knew then that these women, what they do is they grab a hold to our talking points. They sit and listen to us and they soak it all in. They soak it all in. You can't deny irrefutable facts. So what they do is accept the facts, all the, let's call it Afrocentric facts. But they still never get rid of that anti-black male hatred. What I think confuses a lot of black men is they assume that because these women acquire this information, this knowledge, they assume that those black women automatically become exorcised, that black male hating spirit disappears or leaves their bodies. You couldn't be more wrong. And I believe this video proved that. I'm actually surprised that this video only has 12,000 views after 3 days. I'm kind of surprised about that. And I think that, that's more proof that there is some suppression going on. There's a degree of suppression going on with this channel. Because even the biggest haters of this platform should be watching this video, and especially the pro-black crowd Shahrazad Ali gets a whole lot of respect. She gets a whole boatload of respect. So I'm going to be glued to the comment section for a while after this video. This was a disturbing video, people. This was a disturbing video. And Shahrazad Ali, her disrespect of black men is disgusting. It's disgusting. I made a point to never rock with any black woman who mocks Kevin Samuels, and I stand on that. That man had a good heart. Regardless of what y'all's criticism is of him, Kevin Samuels, R.I.P., he had a heart of gold. Yes, he would get agitated from time to time. Why wouldn't he? Why couldn't y'all accept the human side of him in that regard and forgive it, seeing that his message was so powerful, riddled with facts and information that y'all were completely ignorant of? Y'all had no respect for that man, largely because he was far more articulate and intelligent than any one of you have ever been online or anywhere else. Y'all hated how eloquent and well versed the man was. It burned y'all up because y'all are always in competition with black men, just like Shahrazad Ali. And that's one of the reasons I referred to her disrespect of black men as disgusting. And that's a big reason why so many of us are not rocking with y'all anymore. Now, I suggest people listen to this video. This is the type of video that's so naturally delivered, you need to listen to it. It can't be redone or re-narrated where you getting a better understanding just because I'm responding to it. Listen to the video. But what I thought stood out was this point where Donahue um, reminded Shahrazad Ali that you were on my show previously and you were critical of black women who were disrespectful to black men, who acted like they were more intelligent than black men, smarter than black men. You condemned black women for behaving that way. And now you're on my show behaving the exact same way. And Shahrazad Ali, for her to walk into something like that, proves how unqualified she is to project herself as some kind of leader. And Shahrazad Ali, I hope you listen to this video right here. Not mine, this one. And if you listen to mine also, oh well. For her to walk into that was silly. But her calling was far too high for her to have ever met up to it. Because based on what she previously said, her condemnation, her condemning of black women for being disrespectful and talking down to black men, projecting herself as more intelligent black men. What that called for was for her to be the example of being respectful to black men. That is what that's the corner she boxed herself into. And she was oblivious to it. Pay no attention. That's how strong the urge was to disrespect black men. Now, I'm going to briefly play what she said in response. Oh, wait a minute. Got to mute it here because there's an.
You know what? You're doing this.
That's right. Let me explain it. Among mammals, wait a minute, among all mammals, whenever the female of the species is forced into a position where she has to defend the young by herself and feed her.
What position was you forced in? He didn't even get to finish. Gaslighting. He didn't even get to finish. You don't even know what he was going to say. He didn't even get to finish.
Her children along, it makes her more aggressive and ultimately more hostile. And we are mad at y'all. That's who the hostility is directed toward. Because you are
exactly. Go ahead.
Responsible for us, whether you accept the responsibility or not.
She said, you all are responsible for us. I mean, this was like shocking. Is this not one of the most disrespectful black women you ever heard in your life? Who cares that she spewed our talking points, even most of the time? When you got this energy right here and she's spewing multiple lies, we don't have nothing to do with y'all being single mothers. Nothing to do with that at all. But I want y'all to listen to this. We're going to move on to a different video because I listened to a few more of her interviews, and I'm telling you, Shahrazad Ali was on something. She was on something for real, something very sinister. In the chat room, I'm sharing the video to the video you're looking at right now. I want y'all, with what she just said in mind, to listen to this.
And we were taught, this is important, I think, we were taught to demand things from you to prove your manhood that the white power structure systematically kept you from getting. And so that puts you in a position of not being able to win over us if the basis was going to be if you could provide for us and our children.
Now, most black men would listen to that and be like, preach, sister. That's a woke sister right there. What'd he say? Protect her at all costs. That's all she would have to say. Say no more. Most black men, just after that statement right there, would be ready to anoint her as a down black sister of the FBA clan, right? Goddess status. But listen to what she says a few seconds later.
And so contemporary ideas came in about it. Welfare came in, which allowed you as black men to walk away from your responsibility because the white man's welfare system and his food stamps and all of those things, that became our support system.
So welfare allowed black men to walk away from their responsibilities. You see, she is in line with the dangerous rhetoric. She's still on code with the most damaging rhetoric that's put out there. Preached against this exact same rhetoric on my SBW channel, and I identified it as the most damaging rhetoric out there, that black men simply knock up black women and walk away. She's pushing that same talking point that we just walked away. How did we walk away, Shahrazad? I don't know where. And why hasn't she been able to figure this out? When that welfare system was introduced, black women were not living on the streets. They were living inside of homes. Those homes that they lived in did not qualify for Section 8. And them living in those homes did not qualify for welfare. That means they had to have left. There's no ifs, ands, or but about it. Wherever they currently lived, they had to leave in order to take advantage of welfare in Section 8. I was born in 1977. You know where my mother and all the single mothers she knew were living? In apartments. Those apartments, a whole army of them were living in apartments, which became the slums, the projects, O Block, etc. We didn't walk away from nothing. But your sister girl here co-signs with that lie.
We was married to the government.
Mm.
They were taking care of us, so they became our man figure. We did what he said to do. We qualified so we could get the benefits, and it allowed you for a long time to not have to deal with your responsibilities of taking care of your children.
What did I tell you? I made several videos about this. This old lie. And y'all know she recently did this interview. This is just a year old. She hasn't even caught up on the times. Why are we? So it's irrefutable that she is spewing lies. That's irrefutable. That's not my opinion. She is spewing lies. If you're projecting yourself as a leader, why haven't you learned better? Why haven't you done your research? What in the world kind of research are you doing? On top of them leaving their kids' fathers, many of them, their kids' fathers were still involved in their lives. So surely, Ali, Shahrazad Ali, you're not talking about those black men, are you? But let, let's move on. She has a lot to say.
Knowing us like we thought we knew you. Okay, we had support in every negative idea we had about every black man. Okay, and the black man you see now is not the black man of the 50s and 60s and 70s. Okay, they have grafted you all in a way. You all are whole new different people than the kind of men we knew. Okay.
How did that happen? How did this modern black man get grafted? And why wasn't this modern black man present prior to the 50s? What was different? We all know that the fathers were in the home prior to the 50s, but you still had negative images being promoted of black people back then. We were still being projected as apes and criminals and degenerates back then. But you see, the fathers prevented that from shaping the population. The reason this modern black man has been created is because it was groomed and crafted by single mothers who didn't do nothing but allow the TV to raise them, basically. Why aren't you up to date with these facts? Is what I'm wondering. As a leader, she's projecting herself as this grand, and she doesn't dodge this leadership role that she claims to possess. Why aren't you up to date with your rhetoric, with information, with facts, old facts? It gets worse.
But at any rate, I wanted to just study us and look at that. And so I got it from traveling, interviewing people, and the foundational principles of what makes success in a relationship. And
Am I allowed to say that I don't believe her? Because watching this, I felt like she was lying. Why are you stuttering? Why are you so hesitant to give us your reference, your research history? She's trying to lay out to us her history of research, but she could not sound more confused. Is there a problem? I'm just wondering. Because when you're giving references, let's say books, you wrap them bad boys off like it ain't nothing. Because you go back to those books over and over. Okay? But I'm just saying that stood out to me as a researcher.
people, and I wanted to just study us and look at that. And so I got it from traveling, interviewing people, and the foundational principles of what makes success in a relationship, and from myself, and just a lot of different, aspects of life. I started, gathering that information. It was there all along. The Black Man's Guide is not a surprise. It's just the first time y'all seen it in print. Yeah, ain't no surprises in that.
And all right, so
it in, however. And of course, the Latinos, the Mexicans, all of them have their own food. We can't even, as I say, read a lot of the labels. And come, they don't say that Jesus is black or Chinese or Latino. All right? And he told us that if Jesus or any of them people that they say they believe in came down here, or if an angel, if a human being came down here, I want to mention, we need to start letting our little boys play with dolls. Now, this is a campaign that I'm trying to get started. I mentioned we need that. We need them for the girls. And that's another thing I want to mention. We need to start letting our little boys play with dolls. Now, this is a campaign that I'm trying to get started. They need to play with dolls because we got young men out here and older men that the child interrupt the video game, they knock it out with their fists. They beat them, they kill them, they don't know how to discipline them physically, they go too far, they punching them with their fists. They're doing a lot of things to these babies, taking their frustration out on them and anger out on them because they don't relate to it. They don't know how to deal with it. So we tend to just teach motherhood as if that's all you need, while on the other hand, we're talking about you need the father in the home, when we don't consider teaching you all fatherhood. There ain't no magic in none of it. We have to be taught everything.
People, can somebody tell me what in blue hell is she talking about? Let our boys play with dolls? Let them play with dolls because they're knocking each other out over video games? That don't even make sense. You got to make sense. What? Let's hear that again. She tweaked out. She tweaked out for real.
We need them for the girls. And that's another thing I want to mention. We need to start letting our little boys play with dolls. Now, this is a campaign that I'm trying to get started. They need to play with dolls because we got young men out here and older men that the child interrupt the video game, they knock it out with their fists. They beat them, they kill them, they don't know how to discipline them physically, they go too far.
What is she talking about? Has she done lost her whole mind? That don't even make sense. What? They fight over video games, so we need to let them play with dolls? What if they fight over the dolls? And what are you talking? Okay, let's act like we didn't even hear that. Okay, I'm just saying, you're losing sanity points. You're losing sanity points here. I mean, as always, I've always questioned their sanity. She proved to be no different. Okay, what is going on in your head? No, no, ain't nobody playing with no dolls. What in the world are you talking about? Now, let's do this. That interview that she did with Kevin, well, where she was talking about, wait a minute.
Did you agree with Kevin Samuels' approach?
No, I didn't agree with Kevin Samuels. He agreed with me. And and
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. You heard that echo. That echo is a problem. Sorry about that. So this is the video. Speak of the devil. Right where I want it to be. Now, I'm going to mute myself because there's an echo. Let's hear that again.
Relationships in our community, right? Inspiration to Kevin Samuels.
and not being able to mate, even intellectually.
From what I understand, you spoke to Kevin Samuels numerous times, and he acknowledged your work as being the inspiration for his views about relationships in our community, right? Did you agree?
Why is she laughing like that? Okay, I don't like that. I ain't heard nothing funny. But it feels like she's already thinking of something disrespectful in her head. With a laugh like that after the interviewer saying what he said. But let's continue.
agree with Kevin Samuels' approach?
No, I didn't agree with Kevin Samuels. He agreed with me, and he was always so.
Now, y'all heard that. We've all heard this video before. I first heard of it from the video AC produced. Why did she say it like that? Notice how she couldn't say uh, that she follows a man or agrees with a man. You couldn't even say you agree with him. No, I didn't agree with him. He agreed with me. He was not spewing lies. He was not even saying the same things that you were saying. He only applauded her for being critical of black women in general. Just pointing out, hey, you're disrespectful. You act as an enemy. That was it. Aside from that, Shahrazad Ali is spewing falsehoods and being disrespectful in the process. But that was crazy right there. And disrespectful. She just couldn't bring herself to be respectful to him, even in death. People, that's deep. That's deep hatred. Okay. Now, the reason I want to share this is because I want to go a little further into the interview.
So respectful to me, and we were getting ready to do something though. We were going to do a big thing in Atlanta, and then he went and died. So I guess that wasn't supposed to happen. But Kevin.
Now, that was overtly disrespectful. That's irrefutable. When you address someone who has passed, especially someone you claim to respect, you do it with respect. You only disrespect people, especially in death, who you don't like. They act as if black men somehow are supposed to benefit from being disrespected. And I've been saying for years, they have the hardest time doing that than anything else. Simply being respectful and showing black men respect. Do you know naturally our natural counterpart is supposed to always be respectful and are supposed to really worship the ground we walk on? Supposed to be nice, friendly, cooperative, loving, supportive at all times. Because at all times, you're supposed to be proving yourself worthy of a quality man. Which means y'all all supposed to be on code with being ladylike and respectful. Being respectful is at the top of the list. There's no way she's ignorant of the disrespect she just showed here. Y'all, who believes that? Who believes she's oblivious to the amount of disrespect she just showed here? Y'all really believe that? And it's mind-blowing that she had no problem doing that. She didn't even say, I'm sorry. Or I apologize, R.I.P. Kevin Samuels. Didn't catch herself for nothing. That's that same old hatred from the plantation. I don't care what nobody say. That's that vile, evil demon That's what that is. I know that demon when I see it. I've been talking about that demon for years. It's in her too. And it laughed about the passing of Kevin Samuels. They hate the fact that out of the black male population, we create memorable, legendary people. Nobody's ever respected a black woman the way people around the world respected Kevin's. Are you kidding? Shahrazad Ali could not hold a candle to Kevin Samuels' work. Are you kidding? He brought facts. She was bringing lies and fantasies and hatred. Don't make me get into the content of that book where she calling us liars and stuff. Again, listen to that video that I shared in the chat room. Now listen to this.
Relationships in our community, right? Did you agree with Kevin Samuels' approach?
No, I didn't agree with Kevin Samuels. He agreed with me. And he was always so respectful to me. And we were getting ready to do something though. We were going to do a big thing in Atlanta. And then he went and died. So I guess that wasn't supposed to happen. But, Kevin, the book woke him up and it gave him the courage to discuss and address these things since I had did it and had put out the blueprint. And so he was a bit crude. I had told him I didn't think he would be successful because of how he was going about it. But
he was crude? He never said this type of things that she said. Talking about y'all full of hatred and you're directing your hostility towards black men because we're responsible for y'all walking out just so y'all can get welfare and Section 8? He was crude? You up here in your book saying that black men lie about how much money we make, what type of position we hold at our job, saying that we lie about any and everything. That is a lie and a projection. Y'all be lying. Y'all are the pathological liars. This, man, are you kidding? Who wants to tell me I'm wrong? Kevin wasn't spewing no brainless crackhead lies like that. Accusing black women of just being liars collectively, even though they were, and delusional, and he proved it. He didn't have to lie on them. He interviewed all of them and allowed them to prove everything he was saying. And that's what black women hated most. That he interviewed all of them in a way to where virtually all of them proved every criticism that he had of them. He hated it. To see a black man so right and respected for being so intelligent enough, able to communicate with so many people in a way to get the information out of them to validate their own theories. And again, it wasn't much theory. It was based on fact and the things that he stood for. Let's continue.
he told it the way he saw it, and he was not successful. He was successful in his platform, getting hundreds of thousands of people, 300, 400, 500,000 people were, tuning in to hear him and his comments. But I don't know. I'm sure it benefited some of the women because it put us in check about what we think our overrated value is. Okay, And we think we have a greater value because we think that we are in charge of sex. Okay, most men will just about do anything or go along with anything if they think that. Well, that's changing. Okay, that is not all completely the way it was. This is the thing I wanted to mention, and I don't usually talk about this.
Now she about to change the subject. You hear how she said he was not successful and then proceeded to describe how he was because you couldn't deny his work. As soon as she started to reflect on the overvaluing of self, she couldn't bring herself to lie about it. It was irrefutable that y'all overvalue yourselves. And that's just one of the things he substantiated. But yet she still couldn't congratulate him. She couldn't bring herself to congratulate. She had to say he was a failure. He was not successful. He was a failure. How dare you? Black women, come get Shahrazad Ali. Come get your girl. Shahrazad Ali, your work does not compare to even 10% of Kevin Samuels. Let's just deal with work. I'm not going to make this personal. Your little flimsy, goofy book full of hate and anti-black male lies, sprinkled with a little truth that we gave you. You up here ear hustling from our great thinkers. Y'all so wrapped up in y'all's refusal to give us our proper credit. The ultimate disrespect towards black men primarily comes from black women. And we're fed up. All of you, young and old. Don't care how long you've been alive. You should be more ashamed of yourself being as old as you are. And still incapable of showing black men respect. It's to the point now where black men are okay with being disrespected, and they actually expect and are proud to be disrespected by black women. That's changing. I hope y'all noticed that. Because let's be real. No other group of men would put up with this type of nonsense. This level of disrespect, where you're mocking us in our death. You're mocking the greatest that we produce, the greatest minds black men produce. You think you got the authority to do something like that? I mean, their heads are getting way too big right now. They're actually running around here thinking, I told you years ago, they think they're intellectually superior to us. This is evil as all get up. She got that demon in her as well. And it's kind of creepy being proved right in this way. Now, for whatever reason, I have another timestamp. Let's see what it is. It's at 1900 hours.
Asses, because that's taking it to such a low level. Where can it go after that? And how long then will just...
Oh, this is a weird interview. She starts talking about sex and yeah, and talking about how vile sex has become and all of this. Man, y'all need to listen to these interviews. If y'all haven't listened to these interviews, y'all need to listen to.
That was optional. But as black men to walk away from your responsibility because the white man's welfare system and his food stamps and all of those things, that became our support system. We was married to the government.
Mm.
They were taking care of us, so they became our man figure. We did what he said to do. We qualified so we could get the benefits, and it allowed you for a long time to not have to deal with your responsibilities of taking care of your children. That was optional. But then by the time the 80s came, 20 years.
You hear how she said that was optional? She's talking about us. She said that was optional. You, black men, you all chose to simply not take care of your kids. It's a lie. And I've said years ago, and I'm saying it today, that's the worst type of lie to put on black men. Nothing makes you less of a man than that. To have kids, this is how society sees it. The whole world sees it this way. That the lowest type of man possible is one that simply refuses to take care of kids, his own kids. And that is a lie. And again, this video was done just a year ago. It's a wrap for Shahrazad Ali. You could pull this mantra back in the 80s. You better wake up. It's 2025. You know how many generations have passed, Shahrazad Ali? You ain't big dog on the block no more. Yeah, you don't run these streets no more. This ain't the Oprah era. Black men running these streets right now. And we bringing facts. We ain't bringing lies and hate, ego, hate, evil, and hate. Oh, this is an interesting era to be alive. It's an era where black men are starting to wake up and realize how much we're hated by these women, despised, and how it's impossible for them to simply be respectful, to show genuine respect. The same respect other women show their men. They refuse to respect us in the same way. So why should we treat you in these ways that y'all demanding? We ain't responsible for you. The government can take care of you. I'll land my plane there.